Duolingo has over 500 million users, and they claim to teach you a language for free. But is it really good for learning Spanish? I've tried every method out there, apps, books, classes, but today I'm going to put Duolingo to the test. Will Duolingo actually make you conversational, or is it just a fun way to procrastinate? First, let's test my level. Okay, so we can either start from scratch or find my level. So we're gonna do the level test here. If you didn't know, I've been learning Spanish for 10 years now, and I've been teaching for 7. I've taught literally thousands of students at this point. So let's see if Duolingo proves that I am legit or fraud.
Tenemos que acordarnos de comprar leche. ¿Me oyes?
Okay. All right. No te oigo, estoy buscando leche y no hay. Okay, so we have to remember to buy milk. Do you hear me? No te oigo, estoy buscando leche y no hay. All right, that doesn't really make sense, but all right. To hear, oír. Okay, you can also say escuchar, which would be to listen.
No quiero levantarme temprano.
No quiero levantarme temprano. Okay, so notice how levantarme is what we call a reflexive verb, okay? That little pronoun on there, that's the reflexive pronoun, meaning we perform that action to ourselves, okay? So no one else is getting me up, I am getting myself up.
A veces nos despertamos a las 6.
Okay, a veces nos despertamos a las 6. Sometimes we wake up. We wake up sometimes at 6 a.m. I hope that's... I'm going to get rid of that because that might get confused Duolingo. So as we wake up at 6, we wake up at 6 sometimes. That sounds better. All right, we sometimes wake up at 6. All right, select the matching pairs. Mouth, boca, nose, nariz, head, cabeza, noise, ruido, to feel, sentirse. Once again, notice how sentirse is a reflexive.
No nos acordamos de la hora del concierto.
Okay. No nos acordamos de la hora del concierto. Nos acordamos, okay? Here, once again, this is a reflexive. And the idea here is that when we use the verb acordar, meaning to remember, we can also use the verb recordar. It's almost a more passive way to remember something, okay? So recordar is very intentional. I remembered, whereas nos acordamos is a little bit more passive.
Siempre oímos esa música.
Siempre oímos esa música. Okay, so something to be aware of. Esa means that, and it's feminine, okay? Don't get confused eso with the masculine because that is not, it's the neuter. Okay, so we have ese amigo, for example, esa amiga, that friend, and then eso, which is the neuter. So for example, ¿qué es eso? What is that? Okay. In that situation, we don't necessarily have a gender, so we would just use eso. I use my legs to play soccer. Uso mis piernas para jugar fútbol. All right, so something I like to mention is that when I'm texting friends or my girlfriend in Spanish, oftentimes I won't put the exclamation mark at the beginning of a sentence or the question mark at the beginning of a sentence. And oftentimes I won't use accent marks. I'm not saying that's the right way to go about it, but it is much more casual and it's very normal when you're, texting people or what have you.
Me encanta soñar.
Me encanta soñar. Okay? So the idea here is that soñar, this infinitive verb meaning to dream, is performing the action of enchanting. Or in this case, the English translation would be I love to dream.
No cerré la puerta de la nevera.
Okay, I didn't close the fridge door. Okay, no cerré la puerta de la nevera. I didn't close the fridge door. That looks correct. All right, excellent. So cerré is the preterite. Okay, so I didn't close. It's a one-time action. Remember, the preterite is for one-time actions in the past, whereas the imperfect is for ongoing actions in the past.
Yo oigo los pájaros.
Yo oigo los pájaros. Okay, I hear the birds. And honestly, I don't use the verb oír very much. It's much more common that I will say escuchar or escucho in this case.
Yo voy a sentirme feliz hoy.
All right. Yo voy a sentirme feliz hoy. All right, okay, so I'm going to feel happy today. Oftentimes, if we want to talk about the future, we can honestly just use this little formula of ir plus a plus an infinitive. So in this case, voy a sentirme. Sentirme being a reflexive.
No puedo usar mi brazo derecho.
Okay, so I can't use my right arm. I can't use my right arm. That looks good. All right, so interesting thing to notice here. Brazo is masculine, so we're putting this little word into the masculine form, derecho. Now, normally we would say a la derecha, for example, to the right, okay? Because derecho can also mean straight. For example, sigue derecho, keep going straight. It can be a little bit confusing for us as English speakers. My grandpa has a long beard. Mi abuelo tiene una barba larga. Oops, almost messed that up. Una barba larga. Okay, that looks good. Excellent. So don't confuse larga with large, okay? Grande would be large. Larga is long, okay? And because barba is feminine, larga would be ending with a here, okay? Not largo. Did you close the door? ¿Tú cerraste la puerta? That looks good. Excellent. All right. Okay, so it looks like we finished 15 in a row. Woohoo! All right, so I'm not a fraud. We got 100%. All right, so let's go over the pros and cons of using Duolingo. The first pro is that it's fun. As we saw, it gives you gems, you have hearts, there's leaderboards. The gamification of the app makes us more incentivized to actually use it and to learn. Another pro is that it's easy. For the casual learner, Duolingo is fantastic. It's quick, it's easy, we can learn for 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day. It's up to us. You could be at the doctor's office, pull out your phone while you're waiting, and get your Duolingo Spanish lesson. It's also great for vocab. It's a very easy way to be exposed to new vocabulary in the language. Now, I personally think that the best way to learn vocabulary in Spanish is by using flashcards. More specifically, spaced repetition flashcards. My favorite app is Anki. It's free on the computer and you can pay on an iOS or Android device, but it's personally my favorite way to learn new vocab. But Duolingo is a great, quick, and easy way to learn vocab. And the final pro is that it uses the feature of streaks. Having a streak is fantastic because for whatever reason, psychologically, we love streaks and we don't feel good when we lose our streak. So Duolingo is fantastic for keeping you consistent. Consistency, not intensity, creates your success. The con of that is that you're going to learn much slower. Because most likely you're not spending a ton of time on Duolingo every day, that's why many people will say, oh, I have a 1,000-day streak or 15 or 10 million gazillion day streak, but I still can't speak with people. Well, the two biggest reasons are because you're only spending, let's say, 5 minutes a day, and you're really not getting in any speaking practice. So I always tell students, it's like, if you go to the gym and you only work out your arms, why would you expect your legs to get huge? Okay, so a big part of being able to speak the language instead of just being able to read it or understand it is to actually go out and speak with real people. I mean, let's be honest, whatever your reasons are for learning Spanish, at the end of the day, the overarching reason for learning Spanish is to be able to connect with people and to be able to speak with people. So you might say, oh, I want to learn Spanish for my brain health or to go on a trip or just because I think it's fun. The reality is, behind all those reasons is the idea that we want to connect with people. And if you are just sitting behind your phone screen and never actually going out and speaking with people, well, then you're not going to get good at speaking. So, like I said, Duolingo is a good supplement, but it's not necessarily the best way to actually learn the language and be able to have conversations with people. Another con is that you don't have many options. Duolingo lays out its curriculum for you, but you don't have options to play and have fun. So, for example, if you like to ski, it's not like you can tell Duolingo, hey, I want to learn about skiing, all right? That's something you'd have to do outside of the app. And finally, a weird con I have here is that it's free. Now, don't get me wrong. The fact that Duolingo is free for many people is fantastic. But for the person who is really trying to learn Spanish to a high level, I think it's actually a con that Duolingo is free. There's this idea that when you pay attention. So then the question is, would I use Duolingo to learn Spanish? And the answer is yes and no. The reality is I would use Duolingo as a supplement, but that's it. So can you become fluent using only Duolingo? No, I don't think so. Don't get me wrong, it is a great supplement, but it's a great supplement to more advanced courses or books, actually going out and speaking with people in the real world, listening to music. The idea here is that you want to live the language. So for the casual learner, Duolingo is fantastic, but if you truly want to learn the language fluently, then just use Duolingo as a supplement. Bueno, muchas gracias por ver este video, espero que tengas muy buen día y nos vemos muy pronto. Hasta luego.